So you want that cute miniskirt that fits you perfectly, has the perfect length and is exactly your style, but you don't know where to start? Don't worry, I got you. In this video, I will show you how to make these 3 easy miniskirt styles. So no zippers, no buttons, no numbers, no calculations, and the simplest instructions possible. I'm a little scared. Making your own clothes doesn't just help your physical glow up, it also helps your mental glow up. Let me explain. If you don't know me, I am Karina and this channel is all about sewing, self-improvement and social commentary. If you're ready to create with purpose, glow up with intention and understand the world a little deeper, you're in the right place.
Okay, let's start with the skirts.
I ordered them by difficulty. So we have 2 very easy ones, an elastic waistband skirt and a paperback skirt, which are also almost identical to make. And then I decided to make more elegant ballerina-esque wrap skirt to live out my Pilates princess dreams without having to go to a studio. I would say this one will be the most difficult to make out of all of these, but don't worry about it. I'm sure you will succeed in making it as well, if you choose to. Because I am a software developer, repeating the same information in 2 different places is a big no-no for me. Therefore, I will combine the tutorials for the elastic waistband and the paperback skirt because they are almost the same to make. You will need a wide elastic band that fits around wherever you want your skirt to sit. I like mine to sit around my waist, but if you are a low waist girly, just let it sit there. Then you will need fabric that is long enough to wrap around your butt 1 to 2 times. The longer the fabric, the more ruffles you will have at the end, so you can decide. You can even go for more than twice around your butt, then it will have even more ruffles if you're into that. For the waistband miniskirt, I went for 1.5 times around my butt, and for the paperback miniskirt, 1 time plus a little extra. So do with that what you will. Because I set no measurements or numbers for this, you probably have to measure how much you need to tell the person in the store how much fabric you need, or you can just use an old tablecloth. And I have currently a video in the making about making a dress out of 2 old tablecloths, and I will link this here once it's done for shameless self-promotion purposes. You will need thread in a similar color to your fabric. Now, if you cannot find the perfect shade, go with the shade that is a little bit darker rather than lighter, because the darker tone will make imperfections in your seams less visible. You will also need a safety pin and something to sew with, which can either be a simple needle or a sewing machine. Now, first step is to sew a tube with all the fabric that you have and zigzag stitch around the edges. If you have a sewing machine, you can leave out the bottom part because we will probably cut it off later anyways. Then just wrap your elastic around wherever you want your skirt to sit. Put a little extra so you have enough space to actually sew, and then just cut it off. Now this will be the only step that is going to differ between the waistband miniskirt and the paperback skirt. So we will start for the elastic waistband skirt. You will want to fold the top part over, make sure it's the width of your elastic plus a little extra for sewing, and then pin it down, mark wherever you need to sew, and sew around the skirt but leave part of it open. Or you can freehand it like I did because I was feeling particularly risky that day.
To create the channel for the elastic for the paperback skirt, align your elastic with the upper edge of the fabric and flip over 3 times. Mark here and then all around the upper edge of the skirt in this distance. I'm using the elastic for that here. Fold the upper edge of the fabric over to meet the marks you just made and pin it. Make sure that the ugly part of the fold is on the same side as the seam of when you sewed your tube. Now sew around the skirt close to the edge of the fabric, but don't sew the whole way around. Leave a part of it open for the elastic to go in.
Using that seam as a guide, put your elastic on the seam, like the edge of your elastic, put it on the seam, and then mark around the whole skirt from the inside, so you don't have the marks in the outside of the skirt, so you know where to sew.
Now sew around the line you just marked. Here you don't have to leave anything open.
Now, Let's go back to the steps that are the same for both of the skirt styles. You want to take a safety pin and attach it to the elastic and then thread it through this channel that we've just sewn. The only thing that you have to take care of here is that the elastic doesn't fold over while you're threading it through, because that will be uncomfortable to wear and it will look weird. Once you thread the elastic through the whole way, just sew it together at the end. Go over it a few times so you're sure it stays together. Now we have a skirt.
Wait. I forgot to mention that you have to close the channel by finishing the seam we left open before. Do that first and then we have a skirt.
And for me, both of them were a little bit too long. So if that is the case for you too, mark how long you want your skirt to be. You can either do that directly on the fabric, or you can use a string or ribbon like so. Make sure that you measure over your butt, especially if your skirt is going to be very short, to make sure that it is long enough in the back. And wherever you marked it, add a little bit more and then cut there, because we will need some extra fabric to sew the hem. As for hemming the skirt, I just zigzag stitch all around the edge and then fold it over once and sew with a straight stitch. You can also fold it over multiple times if you don't want the zigzag to be visible, but I was too lazy for that, honestly. Now all that's left is to style it. For the waistband miniskirt, I went with a dark feminine energy-esque style. Because the paperback miniskirt has a more natural tone linen, I decided to go for something a little bit more cozy. I think this would be perfect for a summer picnic maybe, and I would love to have white ruffle socks for this, but I don't, so just imagine that there. Before we jump into how to make the last one of the skirts, I just wanted to quickly explore how making your own clothes doesn't just help your physical glow up, it also helps your mental glow up. Let me explain. Not only do we feel better when we like the way we look, through learning a new skill or improving it, we get more confident over time. Now, obviously, just because I've sewn a few things doesn't mean I'm the most confident person in the world. I honestly often still feel insecure, but I am confident in my ability to sew something new. And because I am confident in this ability, I'm also more prone to be confident in my ability to learn something completely new. And the same is true for you. By sewing something, you feel accomplished, and over time this will give you the sense of, I can accomplish this new thing if I try. And this will make you more confident because you start to believe in your ability to succeed. And trust me, you can succeed. And now let's switch to the more complicated style skirt. You will need fabric. I used something a little shimmery to underline the ballerina princess aesthetic that I'm going for. I actually wanted to go for something light pink, but they didn't have it, so I got this kind of ivory instead, but it's still gorgeous. Here as well, you want a thread in a similar color to your fabric, and like I said before, if you don't find the thread in the perfect shade, go for a little darker one because it will make imperfections in your seams less visible. Something to sew with, which is going to be a simple needle or a sewing machine, and you need a string or a ribbon to measure with. Of course, you can also use a measuring tape, but because I said no measurements, I am going to use a ribbon. Also, you need scissors for this one. For the other one as well, but for this one you need scissors as well. Now, fold your fabric in the middle with the inside of the fabric on the outside. So for me, the shimmery side is inside and the non-shimmery side is outside. And now wrap your ribbon around your waist 1.5 times. We want to get 1/4 of this length. So you take half of the length and then you take half of that length. And this is the one that we're going with. We are going to use this length to mark a quarter circle. For that, just start at the corner of your fold and mark wherever your ribbon ends with something. I like to use normal pencil, but if you feel professional, you can also use chalk for that. Now, you will want to cut through both layers to get a half circle. This edge that we just cut will be the top part of the skirt. So wrap around your waist and see if it fits 1.5 times around you, or maybe even a little more than that. If it doesn't, just put it back and cut around a thumb width more and then check again. I had to do that twice to make sure that it fit around 1.5 times. Because we want to have enough overlap in the front so you don't expose yourself. For this belt part, you want to have a strip that wraps around 4 times or more. Mine fits almost 4 times. I would have wanted it to be longer, but I didn't have more fabric, so I'm going with this. As for the height of the belt, you want it to be double the width you want your belt to be, plus a little extra for sewing. Wider is easier here, so don't be shy. And if your fabric is not long enough to wrap around you 4 times, like mine was, just cut multiple strips and then sew them together. I used 2. Now we want to align the middle of the belt with the middle of the skirt and pin that down. Make sure that the sides are exactly like I show it here, and then you sew this down. You can leave around 2 finger width on each side of the skirt open. Now we can mark how long we want our skirts to be. To do so, just wrap it around you and mark how long you want your skirt to be. As for the other skirt as well, make sure to measure over your butt, especially if you want your skirt to be very short, to make sure it is going to be long enough in the back. And then you can use the ribbon to mark how long you want your skirt to be on the fabric, on the inside again, so it's not visible on the outside. To this length, add a little bit extra for hemming, which will be around 1 finger width, and cut off. At both sides of the skirt, cut a somewhat rounded shape. Hemming is a little bit more tricky with this one because we have rounded edges.
To hem rounded edges, cut little slits into the edge of the fabric like so. Fold over 1 time and pin. Afterwards, you can use a simple straight stitch to sew it.
Now that we have the hem, you can finish the seam that attaches your skirt to the belt that we left open in the beginning. And now we are going to make the belt. So fold the belt over so that the inside is outside, and then pin both sides of the belt down. Now we can sew the belts on both sides, and for the end you will want to make a little rounded shape so that it is going to be pointy, and cut excess fabric off, especially around the tip of the belt, to make sure it looks good in the end. Now we need to turn both of the sides of the belt inside out. You can use something long and straight for that. I didn't have something like this, so I just fumbled with it until it was done. Now, last seam. Are you excited? Fold the edge of the belt inside and pin down so that the previous seam is hidden. And then sew all around and make sure to stay very close to the fold for it to look good. Cool, we're done. Now let's style it.
Wait, before I show you the finished look, let me show you how we even got here.
I feel like for the ballerina look, I want to have like this updo that the ballerinas always have, but I want some parts in the front. So this is what we have. Now we're making a very quick bun. Okay, I feel like that's cute, but I feel like these fronts are a little long, so I'm gonna cut them a little bit so it looks better with this outfit. Okay, normally I'll always cut my hair when it's wet, but this one, I guess we're not going to do that. Okay, so I guess around here. scared. Okay, whatever. Oops. Okay. So let's see. Okay. What do we think?
I told you what style I wanted to go for throughout the whole video, so I'm not gonna repeat myself again. But how did I do? I chose a simple white top
with some high heels that I love the look of, but I cannot walk in. So they were perfect to show off here because I didn't have any chance to show them off in real life yet.